We're less than halfway through our transatlantic summer tour of the major golf championships, and already we've seen memorable golf, wild weather, and gorgeous golf courses. We've seen the U.S. Open. This week it's the Women's Open. Next week the British Open. And in August the PGA Championship. Golf at its best on both sides of the Atlantic. Well, the clubhouse is still standing and the course is still in play, but this has been a weird week in Dayton, Ohio. Every day of the Women's Open play has been delayed by storms. Things seem finally to have settled into a fine battle for the championship yesterday as Betsy King, the leader, came to the 13th tee. She had started the day tied with Judy Dickinson, but Dickinson slipped a bit on the front nine. King continued to hit approach shots like this one on the par 3 13th. Betsy King has been playing with a solid, consistent confidence all week. Look at this putt, unerringly into the hole. Birdie written all over it, all the way. But Ayako Okamoto of Japan, a national idol in her own country, had also caught fire. The putter had been her strong weapon on the front nine, saving several pars for her, but now this approach shot would put her in a true challenging position. All Japan was watching on television as Ayako surveyed the putt, then calmly made the birdie. But thunder was rumbling all around the golf course now. A wild storm was about to halt play in the Women's Open. There was high wind and pelting rain, an eerie sight as scared players and spectators scurried for cover. Thunder and lightning were everywhere. Trees blew down. Okamoto hitched a ride on a golf cart which slid down a hill into a tree. She hit her head on the tree, but fortunately wasn't seriously hurt. In time, the rain stopped. As you can see, the bunkers looked like ponds. But P.J. Boatwright of the USGA got his men to work, and remarkably, play was resumed. Okamoto, pulling herself together beautifully after the accident and the delay, had this putt for a birdie on 17. It would move her to within a stroke of the lead. The woman from a farm outside Hiroshima was now in a tight battle with Betsy King, the native of Reading, PA, pretzel capital of America. Had King made this birdie putt on 18, she could have had a two-stroke cushion. But she would have to settle for a par and a round of 70 after earlier rounds of 72 and 71. And so when this final day began, she led by a stroke. King versus Okamoto. Lurking just behind names like Amy Alcott, Hollis Stacy, and the 19-year-old amateur, Joan Pitcock. So the Women's Open had won its war with the elements for the third straight day. It rained all through last night again, but play started on time this morning, and the finish is not far away. ABC Sports and the United States Golf Association invite you to the playing of the final round of the 1986 U.S. Women's Open Golf Championship. And now for the good news. The sun shines bright on Dayton and the NCR course at nearby Kettering, Ohio. The puddles in the bunkers are starting to dry up. The fallen trees have been cleared away. At this moment, it's just a hot summer day in mid-America. But keep your fingers crossed. One never knows around here this week. We've had everything but a shower of meteors. Here's how they stand at this moment and talk about things changing quickly. Sally Little of South Africa has seized the lead. She trailed by 4 strokes when the day began. She's only played 6 holes, but now she is the leader by 1 over Betsy King, who bogeyed the first 3 holes, by 2 over Amy Alcott, who is 2 under for the day. Okamoto beginning to fade a little bit at 1 over par. Pat Bradley, who trailed by 8 when this day began, now only trails by 3. She's the one going for the Grand Slam of women's golf. She's won the first 2 legs of it. Jane Geddes and Deb Richard are also in there. We might go further down that leaderboard because these are all still serious contenders. Judy Dickinson, who was in it, so she tied for the lead at the beginning of the 3rd round. Kathy Morse playing well. Stevenson, Stacy, Pitcock, the amateur, playing extremely well in this championship. Laura Davis, the long hitter from Britain, and Lauren Howe. Now, as for the weather situation, perhaps we could review it briefly. All we've had here with these things. On Tuesday, the course evacuated because of the phosphorus cloud from the tank car derailment that you must have been reading about and hearing about on television. Wednesday, course evacuated again as the phosphorus cloud moved close, but it blew away again. Thursday, rain delay for an hour and 23 minutes, thunderstorms. As for Friday, well, of course, Friday was not the earthquake. Saturday was the earthquake, but we did have play delayed twice by thunderstorms on Friday. Saturday, yesterday morning, we had the slight earthquake in this area. Nobody hurt. Play delayed 2 hours and 17 minutes due to thunderstorms, and it rained again all last night, but son of a gun, They're still at it. Temperature 81 degrees now, humidity 65%, slight winds out of the southwest, forecast showers and thunderstorms, if you can believe it, chance of rain 50%, but as I said, the good news is right now the sun is shining and everything looks good. What a battle is shaping up for this U.S. Women's Open Championship. We'll be with you for the next 2.5 hours or until conclusion, unless it should end up in a tie, which certainly is a possibility. If there's a tie, the playoff, as in all USGA events, will be at 18 holes tomorrow, and we would be here for that. Let's bring in our expert on the sport, Dave Marr, former PGA champion. This has been a wild one. It's shaping up very much like all U.S. Opens do, but tough conditions always.
Conditions have really been tough, Jim. A player sort of gets their own pace, and they know they're going to go out and play 18 holes, and you allow a certain amount of time for that. And with all the delays, it's been what usually is a day that may last 6 or 7 hours has been stretched to 8, 9, or 10, depending on the player. And some of them have had to come back the next day and finish around. So really, not only the mental drain, but I think physically this week has been a very hard tournament for anyone to play, whether you're a man or a woman. And it has happened so many times in a major championship. You see all the players coming back to a little bunch here.
They really are bunching up. Reminds us just a bit of the U.S. Open at Shinnecock last month.
It sure does. And it's
okay,
pairing.
Let's take a look at the pairings. Penny Hamill is playing with Amy Alcott. And remember, Alcott is 2 under par so far today. Hollis Stacy, 3-time champion, plugging along. Joan Pitcock, the 19-year-old amateur. Jane Geddes and Judy Clark Dickinson playing together today. Dickinson was in it to the end last year. Deborah Shard, who had a fine 69 on Friday. And Sally Little of South Africa, now the leader of this championship. Betsy King and Ayako Okamoto are in the final group. On the 10th fairway now, this is Amy Alcott. Judy Rankin is with that group. She must be playing, obviously, extremely well, Judy.
Oh, she is, Jim. I think she has the confidence that the greens will hold today, and she's very aggressively throwing the ball at the pin.
She has picked up a bogey, however. It is now just 1 under for the day, right?
That's correct. She 3-putted the 9th hole.
Just off the edge. Amy Alcott, a former winner of this championship in the heat and humidity of Nashville, Tennessee a few years ago. Just about as draining a day as I can ever remember.
That was a tough 4 days to play there, too.
Little for a birdie.
Really making a move.
Okay. Pat Bradley on the 15th tee. Don't count her out. No one has ever won the women's so-called Grand Slam, which is the Dinah Shore, the LPGA, this Open Championship, and the Laurier Classic in Canada. But Pat Bradley has won the first 2. Although at times she seemed to be out of this, we said she trailed by 8 when this day began. She is still a presence.
What a great shot that was, Jim.
7th green. Now here is the championship leader, Sally Little. Bob Rosberg is with that group. Ross, how would you sum this up so far?
Well, Sally has just got off to a great start. She's 2 under par for the day. Hit a fine second shot here, but it just dragged up a little short, just on the front edge, about 25 feet, going straight uphill for a birdie.
Okay. Very deliberate. No. Really pulled up.
Well, they're quite a bit slower. They didn't, because of the weather, Jim, the greens were not cut today, just to show you how much water this course has really had this week. And I think Jack Hart and his crew here, he's the superintendent here at NCR, have really done a fine job because it was loaded with water.
I don't know how they did it, to tell you the truth, because it's been raining and raining and raining since Thursday, but they keep draining it and pumping out the bunkers and sweeping them out, whatever they do, but it's the way they stand. Sally Little by 1 over Betsy King, so King is still there despite bogeying the first 3 holes. Some of the other leaders here as we run down the board. Rossi, if you still hear me, is the course playing a lot longer? Are the tee shots stopping and, not running for them?
Yes, I would say that is definitely the case, Jim. It's very wet out here, although the course has drained beautifully, as you said. But the 7th hole didn't play nearly as long the first 3 days as it has today. The girls were hitting it with 4 irons maybe today from 175 yards. So that shows you how long it played.
A little more wind today, Rossi?
No, I don't think it's too breezy out here, David.
Okay.
You wish it were. A little muggy. Here's Amy Alcott now, just off the green. At 1 over, she's 2 shots behind. But this woman is a competitor. Sometimes seems to thrive on adversity.
Well, one thing in Amy's favor, too, she grew up playing at Riviera, which is one of the great courses in this country. So when she comes to a championship course like this, it's nothing that strange to her. She's used to playing hard golf courses.
Just hard to hit him hard enough today, it looks like.
Yeah, putting up that hill, and you don't want to be too aggressive there and knock it by too far, but that was a little wide of the mark.
Now Pat Bradley, a birdie attempt at 15.
These all get very important now, too, as they have been since Thursday, obviously. But if Pat could get in with 289 or 288, and the other players have to shoot at that, it would be tough, Jim. It's hard to shoot against a score that's already in. Oh, man, that was a good putt.
That
And
would have
she
brought
knows
us
that,
two
too.
strokes of the lead. Here's Sally Little on the 7th green. Okay. Oh, dear. That's final day of U.S. Open stuff, too, when the pressure begins to build. That's a bogey.
Yeah, that'll happen to you at the worst time, it seems.
So now she has dropped down into a tie for the lead with Betsy King. The battle is certainly joined. There's a look at the scoreboard. I think we might bring in right now for a few words our colleague, Jack Whitaker.
Jim, thank you very much. I don't think any of us remember severe weather over such an extended period of time as we've seen in Dayton this week. Never mind the exotic nature of it. And it has changed this championship in many ways. And one way is one of the salient features of a U.S. Open championship are fast greens. And that's not going to be the case this afternoon. Rhonda Glenn, our expert on women's golf and a very noted golf writer in her own right, is here. And what do you see this afternoon as being?
You're absolutely right about the greens being somewhat slower today, Jack, and I'm sure none of us are used to that in the Women's Open nor in the Men's Open. However, another big factor is that so much water has been dumped on this golf course that it's going to play exceptionally long. You're seeing the big hitters move higher and higher on the leaderboard because you have to bang those tee shots out there in order to reach some of those long par fours. Naturally, we have some very difficult pin positions on some of the holes today. Placement of tee shots is also crucial, so let's look for the person who's playing best from the tee and, as usual, on the greens to find the winner.
Here's Amy Alcott's par putt at the 10th hole. And yet another stroke is dropped to par that drops her back to 2 over where she started the day. When you get 2 under in the final round of the Open, then lose those both back, it's kind of discouraging.
Well, 9 is a tough hole, one that she bogeyed just prior to this, but making a bogey at 10, making a 6 there on a hole where you player as good as Amy, you feel like I've got a good shot at a birdie here, really does hurt your round and hurt your momentum. But she's a tough player.
That's a hole that many people have been birdieing. It's the one of the shorter par 5s. Let's go to the 8th hole now. Sally Little, who has dropped down into a tie for the lead. The 8th hole, 150-yard par 3. Ross, anything we should know about this hole today?
No, not really, Jim. It's playing a slight crosswind from left to right. The one thing I might comment on this group is that they are quite a bit behind. I think the group ahead of them is probably well up the 9th fairway and perhaps on the 9th green. So I think that something might be said. I know P.J. Boatwright is out here with them.
Nobody has spoken to them yet from the
I don't
USGA,
believe
as far
so.
as you know? Yeah.
No, I don't believe so.
Sally's earlier round, you saw on the screen there.
Shot there.
Yep. Well, when the PGA Championship was here 17 years ago, a South African very nearly won it, Gary Player. Now Sally Little, tied for the lead. Deborah Shard, she's 3 over now, which is still only 3 shots out of the lead. Remember, the last round of the Open, we don't look and say, well, gee, if somebody gets 3 birdies on the back 9, you look more to see, well, somebody may get 3 bogeys on the back 9, right? That's what you talk about if Pat Bradley can get in and post a good score.
That's tough. It's tough to play against a score that's already on the board. So this Deb got off and made a 6, a double bogey at the first hole, and it always hurts your momentum.
Oh, get down.
And she didn't like that either.
Get down, she said.
And that doesn't mean let's dance.
Where'd that go, Ross?
That's left of the
That's on the
flag.
left side of the green. Not
see
too
it
bad
for
a
a
shot,
moment.
really.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Amy Alcott on the 11th tee. You see it's a 335-yard par 4.
Dog leg left. Perfect drive there.
Cutting the corner of the dog leg just a little bit. So I think that sets the scene for what may be to come here in Dayton. Let's take a break and then come back.
We're back at the NCR course in Dayton. You're looking at a co-leader. This is Betsy King. She led coming into this round, is now dropped into a tie with Sally Little, and she is on the 7th, a par 4, 384-yard hole with this birdie attempt.
While we wait for her, let's go to 11th fairway.
Meantime, out on the 11th fairway, Amy Alcott. She's just 2 shots behind the leaders. And Judy, what's going on out there?
Well, Jack, she's hit a perfect drive. Right now, we seem to have a gust of wind, and it's playing downwind for her, about 140-yard shot. She's hitting a 7-iron.
Okay.
Maybe she'll get back on track and start to hit it close to the hole again, because she had probably 7 legitimate birdie chances up to now.
And again, it trickles off the back edge for her.
I think that wind, as Judy said, the wind was right behind her, and that's why she was kind of fooling around there for a minute, in between clubs.
So we're looking now at the other co-leader, Sally Little, at the 8th hole for a birdie. Right behind her, Betsy King has a birdie attempt, and they are tied for the lead.
So close.
Now Betsy King, her birdie putt. Back at the 7th hole. This is on videotape.
And as you can see the way she's lining up, Jack, it's going to break to her left quite a bit.
Hello. Good morning. Your wake-up call. And live, Okamoto for her par, but Betsy King has once again taken the lead to herself. She's 1 under.
Jack, I went out and watched Betsy on the first couple of holes, and she really got off to a rough start. She drove it right in the heavy rough, bogeyed the first hole. Second hole, she 3-putted. She just looked a little shaky, so that's really some momentum for her right there to get a birdie at this point.
Absolutely. Now the real tournament is about to begin at back 9 on Sunday.
Sure is, and I thought Judy may play that front 9. Judy Dickinson, she's played the front 9 5 over in the first 2 rounds, and the back 9 4 under. But the front 9 got her again today.
There's a couple of pages of our leaderboard. Defending champion, Kathy. We back at the 11th, and in back of the 11th green, Amy Alcott.
These are the times you really have to pull yourself together, Jack. You just bogeyed 9. You really took 3 putts at 10, whether you're on the green or not. It was still a putter she used, and now she has to chip this. Got to get a 4 here and a 4 at the next hole, which would be a birdie, or her chances may be gone. That's not bad.
Not too bad.
It's right on line.
Now up to 18 for the Betsy King.
Now the leader, Betsy King, at the 8th, par 3, 150 yards. Any wind there, Rossi? Sorry. The flag is still, but that's kind of protected there, isn't it?
Protected by the trees, Jack, and you're hitting from an elevated tee, so it's going to play a little shorter than 150. Of course, the pin is great little position there today, just over the bunker in front of the green.
Well, another fine iron shot by Betsy King. We saw that yesterday. Every time we looked up.
As long as she doesn't get tentative. It's just the way she was swinging yesterday looked like it was almost 100%.
She said today she was going to try to pop it at the pin on every hole. She said she was not going to hold back and try to protect the lead.
And I think that's the way she plays, Rhonda. You got to play the way you play, whether it's aggressive or smooth. I mean, Naoko here is a very smooth player. She's got to play the way she does. You can't change your game to play like someone else, or it's all over for you.
Boy, that's the trick.
Needed one more club.
Bit shy. All right, Amy Al-Qaeda, the 11th hole for par. Yes, all right. He stops it a little bit there. And we'll return for more golf action after this message and a word from our local stations.
An international battle has shaped up for the U.S. Women's Open Golf Championship in Dayton, Ohio. Betsy King, the American, Sally Little from South Africa, and Ayako Okamoto of Japan, within 2 strokes of each other. Running down the board, pick out some others of your favorites. Down at 4 and 5 over, well, hopes are fading there. 3, it's getting marginal, but anybody at 2 over par or better certainly still has a shot. Let's take a look at the 17th hole now, a par 4, 345 yards. Pat Bradley is about to play this hole, and she is not out of it. You don't want to be on the left side of this fairway too much, so it kind of kicks down there.
It kicks, it's a little left to right kind of hole, as many of these holes are. If you can play your tee shots left to right, or whether you hit a driver, or a lot of the players are not using drivers off of every tee. They may be now with the course playing so long, but anybody here with a fade has a definite advantage as far as putting it in the fairway.
Pat, 3 under for the day, saved her best round for the last. That's in the left rough, it looks like. Yeah, there it is. It doesn't look too bad, Dave. Pat Bradley, a great story. Came out of New England, very close family background. Well, why don't we meet her a little bit? Pat Bradley's roots are deep in New England, in this house in Westford, Massachusetts, the town where she was born. She did the things New England girls do in storybooks, skiing and studying and becoming the queen of the high school junior prom. She was the only girl of 5 children.
I am very, very thankful for the upbringing that I've had. I've had 2 parents that are different in one way, but yet I was able to grab certain characteristics from each one of them. And I think it has made me a total and well-rounded person. My folks are extremely supportive with me and with all my brothers when they were doing their endeavors. They were behind me 100%, and they still are.
Pat was an expert skier and ski instructor, but her summertime talent for the game of golf was evident at an early age. Her dad, Dick, a dedicated golfer himself, encouraged her. She won her first pro tournament in Australia, and when she called home at 4:30 a.m. with the news, her mother went out on the porch and rang a bell so the neighbors would know. She's been doing it for every victory since, a modern good news version of Paul Revere. Dick and Kathleen Bradley are Pat's lifeline, but it makes her nervous if they watch her play.
We wouldn't think of going to the Open. Anything as important as that, she needs to concentrate wholly on that, and with her family there, it might not be the best thing.
I mean, I'm doing what I'm enjoying, and I'm doing what is making me happy. Sure, I have tough moments and frustrating weeks and frustrating rounds, but that is what's so nice about it, because I'm only a phone call away from people who love me dearly, and I can let out my emotions, and they're right there helping me through it. And that is a very comforting feeling. And so I really haven't dwelled on, well, my folks are happily married. They went and had 5 children. Gee, why am I not doing that? I have found a niche, and I'm going to pursue it to the fullest.
She's the first woman to win more than $2 million. This year has won the first 2 legs of the Women's Grand Slam. Does that make her nervous?
Well, it's important, but I am not going with the feeling that's going to make or break my career, or it's going to make or break my year. It's just a wonderful feeling to be in the position that I'm in. I don't think too many players have even come close to the opportunity that I am trying here. But we're going to give it 100%, and hopefully, you know, we'll see what happens.
Okay, Pat Bradley's Grand Slam bid is not over yet, but on tape from just a minute ago, let's take a look at the birdie putt that Betsy King had on the 8th hole, leading by a stroke in the championship after bogeying the first 3 holes, and that's pretty good stuff for pulling yourself together. And there was another birdie. She now leads this championship by 2 strokes over Sally Little, by 3 over Ayako Okamoto. That's really something. Now to the 9th green. Let's go to the aforementioned Sally Little. Little now trailing by 2. Remember, she had the lead just, it seems like about 10 minutes ago. And it's really ebbing and flowing.
Jim, whether or not Sally Little wins this tournament, this is going to do so much for her because she's spent most of the last 2 years out with injuries. She had abdominal surgery in 1983. She was out for 20 weeks in 1984 with knee surgery. She has to go on a special diet. You can tell she's lost quite a bit of weight, really. And this is a terrific performance for her. I'm not even sure that she expected it.
Particularly on a week like this one, endurance has been the order of the day, every day.
Exactly.
It was breaking right in towards the hole. That'll be very nicely done par for Sally Little to keep her at even par for the championship and 1 under on today's round. Par here is 72. She had earlier rounds of 73, 72, 72, and it's that sort of consistent scores, Dave, that wins Open Championships, men's or women's.
You can't shoot too high. You can stand a lot of low scores, but you win tournaments by taking that day that you may have should have shot 75 or 6 and turning that into a manageable score of 72 or 3 or something.
Deborah Shar is 3 over. As you see, 2 over for the day. Her big round was Friday with a 69. She opened with a 76 and came back with 72 yesterday. She's been a bit up and down. Okay, Deborah Shard hanging in there, but at the moment she's 5 shots out of the lead. The sun still shines. Let's hope it stays with us.
Welcome back to the United States Women's Open Championship. We're at the 17th now. Second shot from the left rough on videotape by Pat Bradley. 3 shots off the lead. As she tries for this unprecedented sweep of these major championships. And has that left there for birdie, which she probably is going to need.
She definitely is now with Betsy playing better and being the aggressive kind of player that Betsy King is.
9th hole, 381 yards, par 4, dogleg. And 4 nice little traps up there around the
That's a good little hole there. Dogleg left, and play a little longer than that because you don't want to drive through the dogleg. You've got to be sure that you put it in the fairway and then kind of shoot uphill to that green. It's plays a little longer than 381.
Judy, what's going on?
Well, they've both driven the ball long, but Betsy's put the ball in the right-hand rough. And we're getting some more gusts of wind that'll play left to right on this hole. They have long second shots.
About how long?
Ayako's better than 180 yards to the hole. And Betsy's probably 10 yards closer.
Betsy's lie any good, though, in the rough?
She has as good a lie as you're going to have in the rough, yes.
That's good
I
news,
think.
bad news, Judy.
There is Betsy, and there is her lie in the rough. Now, this is Amy Alcott ahead at 12. Yes, birdie, finally.
She really needed that, too, because, as I said, second ago. Betsy King is playing well now with those 2 birdies at 7 and 8, and she's the kind of aggressive player that can hold the lead, I feel, Jack. Can't expect her to come back toward you now. She's gotten over, I think, the bad part of the round. I'm sure she hopes it's a bad part of the round when you start with 3 bogeys.
Can't do much for your confidence, can it?
No, you wonder, what kind of day is it going to be?
Ayoka.
She needs to get something started, too. She's 3 over for this 9 for the first 8 holes. No.
Well, the ball clipped a tree halfway to the green and went in the left-hand bunker.
It's never 90% air in a tournament, is it, Judy?
Never.
I think it's 90% trunk in the tournament.
All right, the leader.
I would think Betsy's hitting a 3-iron.
Oh, she gets through it, doesn't she?
She sure does.
It's right at the fat of the green. Pretty good play out of the rough.
Very nicely done, Judy, as you said. Good shot.
Here's a look at the hole from behind the green, and just a little earlier, our Rhonda Glenn talk with the current leader.
What is it about this tournament that brings out the best in you?
Well, I feel for me, the harder the golf course, the better. I feel like I hit the ball fairly long and hit the ball pretty high, so I think on an open course that's an advantage. And it's hard because it's certainly a key tournament of the year, and everybody wants to play well, and sometimes you can get a little bit too uptight about it. But I finished as low amateur in the Open in 1976, finished tied for 8th, and that really was my biggest thrill in golf until I turned professional. So I have fond memories of some of the Opens, and this is the 12th Open I've played in, so certainly I feel like a veteran to the Open.
Betsy King leading by 2 now as we follow the adventures now of Pat Bradley at 17. Remember that shot she put up from the left rough. And here she is with this sizable putt. Has that for par to remain at 2 over as we go to Amy Alcott at 13, par 3. And she's
nice shot.
Gets it right on there, underneath the hole. Amy 1 over par. Pat Bradley par at 17 as we go back to the adventures of Ayako Okamoto. 3rd shot here at the par 4.
Yes.
About how long a bunker shot does she have there, Judy?
It's a long bunker shot. She has 50, 60 feet to contend with, and she's fairly close to that lip, which makes the long bunker shot more difficult.
Feet are not on a level either. Kind of throws your weight back on your right side. You got to be careful here. Well played. It's not bad at all.
So Betsy King at the moment, a 2-shot lead from Sally Little. Now we're in the 10th fairway, par 5. Rossi?
She's played a good second shot, but it's on the downslope. And with the pin up close, she has a real tough shot. A shot of about 70 yards, but very difficult shot to play.
Rossi, there's a little wind here at 18. Is she kind of going again? Well, the flag's not moving. I mean, maybe that would help her a little if there was a wind against her.
Well, there's just a touch of wind, but very little down here in this valley.
Good job. All right.
How about that off a downhill lie, David?
Hang on.
Huh?
Oh, I love it. She's got a tough deal, though. It's been a long time since Sally Little was in contention to win a tournament. And what with her, you're questioning her stamina, at least I am, because she hasn't been there, and it's been a long week for all the players. She's just playing great.
Now back at 9, Betsy King. Nothing tentative about that either.
Well, she is an aggressive player, and for a while there, that putt had a couple of little breaks in, went right, then left.
Major League Baseball, the All-Star Game from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, Tuesday night, live at 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC. Cannot believe it's that time of year already. The All-Star Game on Tuesday night, right here on ABC.
Speaking of rain, they had a rain out at the Dome one time, you know. Yeah. It rained so much they couldn't get to it.
That's the leaderboard at the moment, as this championship now has moved into the final and juiciest part, the back 9 of the final round.
Jack, you can see Ayoko has about a 10 to 12 footer here to save par. And this is what she did so well yesterday. She missed a lot of greens, but she was able to get it up and down. She's a tremendous player from off the edge of the green. But that puts a big strain on your short game to have to do that consistently, and also on your putting. So I think that's why she slipped a little bit today.
She has this for par now. She was in the bunker, remember? And Amy Alcott for birdie on left at the 13th. Oh, lovely putt there, but a bogey again here for Okamoto. Right direction.
Little short. It's hard to really change your tactics. You keep thinking U.S. Open and USGA and fast greens, and they didn't have a chance to cut them today. There's nothing wrong with them as far as the way the texture is, but they're just slower than you're expecting.
Now Betsy King, the leader by 2 for par. Yes, yes.
Good putt there.
Good, strong showing for Betsy King after a trembling start. She has come back here to finish the front in command of this tournament by 2 shots. Now the 10th green, Sally Little. This is the par 5. Remember the beautiful shot she put up there and with backspin.
Sally has a little history of playing well in the final round of a major championship, Jack. You remember at Country Club of Indianapolis back in 1978, she shot 65 last round, came in to tie for second. In the Dinah Shore, she shot 64 one round and won that one. So she likes the big tournaments, and she plays well toward the end of the championship.
Those 64s and 65s will move you right up there, won't they?
Boy, those help.
She her first tournament win, didn't she hold it from the bunker at 18 at Moss Creek?
At Moss Creek, that's right, the Women's International.
Yep.
At the end of this putt, we're going to go to tape on the evolution of passion.
Go.
Oh my, just like putting through mud there, didn't it?
Well, it's just so much slower than you think. And this is a time, again, where a player like a Betsy King, who's an aggressive player, may have the advantage on these greens, where if they were a little slicker, she might be somewhat tentative.
So Betsy King leading by 2 and looking very cool. Let's take a look at some of the fashions of women. When golf first began in the United States, little thought was given to what kind of clothes to wear. Miss Charles Brown, the first USGA Women's Amateur Champion in 1894, seems to have stepped right off the street with a heavy wool skirt, flannel shirtwaist, and high-button shoes with spats. The idea of comfort began creeping in when the 1904 champion, Georgiana Bishop, featured a cotton shirtwaist and a Panama hat. More comfort was apparent in this outfit worn by England's Miss Gladys Ravenscroft. Its main features, an ample cardigan and sturdy Oxford shoes. By the Roaring 20s, fashion and comfort had moved ahead. Mrs. Glenna Collett wore a shorter tweed skirt, cloche hat, and lightweight white shoes. In the Depression of the 30s, berets and two-tone shoes were part of the uniform, worn here by Miss Helen Hicks. Later in that decade, skirts got shorter and more narrow, and the cloche hat was still around when Miss Virginia Van Wy was champion in 1934. After World War II, the so-called new look for women found its way on the golf course, characterized by long skirts as worn here by Beverly Hanson. By the end of the 50s, comfort and style had merged with tailored shorts, cotton knit shirts, and the classic saddle shoes worn so beautifully here by players like Barbara McIntyre. Women's golf styles have changed a lot since the turn of the century, while many of the men players now are returning to the old styles of +4s. Expert observers of the human comedy are not surprised. And now, a very nattily-looking Sally Little at the 11th tee.
Jack, we did mention earlier that they were well behind, or Rossi mentioned it, I think, well behind the group in front of them. And they have been warned. You get a warning before you get a penalty, and they're being timed now as far as holding their position or trying to close it up on the group in front of them. Don't want to fall behind anymore.
This is an uphill tee shot, as you can see, and this looks perfect. Rossi?
Yes, that's a good drive up the right-hand side of the fairway and fairly long. According to that, about that timing procedure that David was talking about, they have been warned, that's true. But talking to P.J. Boatwright, they are only 4 minutes behind the accepted pace of play, which is 12 minutes per hole. So as long as they catch up on that, they'll be okay, no matter how far behind they are.
All right, Rossi, thank you very much. At this moment, Betsy King leads this tournament by 2 shots from Sally Little. We'll be back.
Don't count this woman out of it yet, the U.S. Women's Open. Pat Bradley going for the Grand Slam of women's golf. She's won the Dinah Shore and the LPGA. She trailed by 8 shots when this day began, but look at that scoreboard. There she is, 4 shots behind Betsy King, but only 2 behind Sally Little, 1 behind Amy Alcott. And if those 3 start slipping at all, after Pat Bradley has posted her score, look out. This for a 68, which would be the finest round of the championship so far.
It isn't bad.
Nope. If she makes that putt, it'll be a 69, however, which equals the best round. Nothing better than that so far in this U.S. Women's Open. A 69 on the last day is just about what the doctor ordered, but the 68 would have made it a lot squeakier.
A lot more exciting there, but she knows that that was her chance maybe to do something that no other woman has done in golf so far.
Now, second place, Sally Little, 2 behind Betsy King. By the way, although she was born and raised in South Africa, as we've been saying, she became a United States citizen almost 4 years ago. As has been pointed out, maybe you've just joined us, though, she's been ill for several years on and off. Well, so far this year, she's won $19,000, for example. She's 78th on the money list, but she did finish 8th in Houston last week.
Got how long a shot, Rossi?
Shot of about 125 yards, Dave. Got to get up. Ooh. Caught the top of the bunker. Didn't come back in the sand, but got caught up in the tall grass.
Played it just a little bit cozy, Dave. Huh?
Yeah, you needed another club, evidently, or she didn't catch it as flush as she wanted to with that particular club.
Now the 18th green and Pat Bradley's par putt for 69 to bring her in at 2 over for the championship, which would be an even 290 strokes. That'll be a scorecard if she makes this final putt. Our guys have conceded the putt.
Yeah, but it's a tough putt to make because she had a lot going on this tournament and this round, and leaving that one short, and she's really got to.
Okay, let's get a look at it.
Grind here a little bit to make this one. They don't give any of these. They don't have any leather here, so you got to finish out.
All right, tradesman's entrance, as Henry Longhurst used to say. But in the hole, all the same, a 69. She'll go in and post it now. Check it over, sign her scorecard, and there's a chance. Ayako Okamoto. Okamoto fading now. Started at 2 under. She's now 2 over. At one time, she led the championship by herself after 3 holes today. But she keeps coming back every so often.
Good shot.
Lots of holes to play for her. They'll be coming to the 12th hole, and by the way, the 12th hole is a very birdieable hole. For example, Jody Rosenthal went through there a while ago. Jody really got hot. She birdied 11, eagled 12, and birdied 13. Betsy King. Okay. She can keep doing that. She'll be all right.
Well, there's the lady that's in control right there. She can just keep making pars and keep hitting good shots. And if you happen to get a birdie, that's fine too. But just don't make any mental mistakes.
Surprising what a good gallery there is here today when you figure that it was still pouring rain at 9 o'clock this morning, and this place has been a morass in many places in the rough. How the greens crew here and P.J. Boatwright and his USGA guys have gotten this course in shape is a wonder. Now, Sally Little, up to the day, it's been Chicken Little around here with the sky falling.
Yeah. That's what happens on those uphill lines, Jim. You're looking for it to run a little bit, and because it's uphill, it pops the ball up a little more steeply than it usually does, and it's not going to run as much.
Just about everything seems to be short today. It must be difficult to make yourself hit it hard enough when you've been used to faster greens all week.
Well, you keep thinking it's going to be fast. It's a U.S. Open, and that usually means hard, fast greens.
Sun shining very brightly now, and a bit of a breeze, at least up here on 18, but I would think it's a little soon for this course to dry out enough today. Little promo time here, the World Ice Spectacular and the Harlem Globetrotters in Kansas City. That's next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern Pacific, 3:30 Central, as Wide World of Sports moves through its 26th year. Oh, my goodness.
Where did it go, James?
Oh, dear. Where did they go? Moving down to the easily identifiable leader, Betsy King in her almost Dayglow outfit today. Rounds of 72, 71, 70. 1 over so far today.
Well, she's going a little uphill and side hill. It'll break to her right.
She didn't like it. Why not? Whoa! Boy.
She may not have. She looked a little hesitant.
She did. She kind of jumped a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it didn't start smooth, Jim. It looked like he bounced it a little, and I'm sure it got closer to the hole than she expected.
As long as she keeps making pars from now on, however, somebody else has to start making birdies, and that isn't being done very often here. Except, as I say, that 12th hole is one where they should be able to get it. A good look at the championship leader. Now, back to Sally Little. Hasn't won a championship or a tournament in a long time. In fact, since 1982, almost 4 years of drought for Sally. Now she's just 2 strokes out of the lead, but she needs this for a par.
Ooh, big putt
That'll
there.
keep your hopes alive, huh?
Big putt there for her.
So she stays at even par for the championship, 1 under for the day. Here's Okamoto.
Jim, Aoko cannot practice. She has a bad disc in her back, and so she can't hit practice balls, at least very often. She says when she hits an iron shot, she never knows where it's going to go for that reason.
That must fill one with confidence.
She says every time I hit an iron, I say goodbye to the ball.
Oh, my goodness.
Is it tougher for her to hit an iron than a wood because of the different way you hit the ball? You're not hitting down on it as much?
That's logical, Dave. I think you're right on that. She's having to go after it more with the iron and kind of crash into the ground a little to take that divot.
Notice that Jane Geddes is playing well. She's 1 under for the day and just 1 over for the championship. Now in a tie with Amy Alcott for 3rd place. Let's return to Amy for a moment on the 15th tee, which is a 185-yard par 3. 3 strokes behind. She almost has to count on a bogey or 2 from Betsy King at this point, but she's got to make a birdie.
You got to get to 288, Jim. I mean, to have a chance, I think. And Betsy King is a good, solid player.
288, of course, would be even par, and she's 1 over right now.
Of course, anything lower than that wouldn't be too bad either.
Oh, dear. Bunker for Amy Alcott. She was going for that flag stick, all right. Rhonda Glenn talked to Amy a little bit earlier today. Here's what she had to say.
Amy, you're playing well in another U.S. Women's Open. What is it about this championship that inspires you?
Well, I don't know, Rhonda. I just seem to play real well on good golf courses. I've always been up for a challenge. That's my trademark. You give me a golf course, it's 100 yards. The fairways are 100 yards wide, and there's no trees. I don't really play very well, but a good golf course with some tradition, and this is a very, this is the epitome of golf right here. To win a U.S. Open would really, is always something you key for. But it's a tradition, and the class that's involved in this tournament, I get up for it.
Well, she's done it before, and she's not out of this one yet. But it gets tougher and tougher as the holes begin to run out. Let's take a break.
Okamoto at the 11th hole, 2nd shot.
Jack, she hit a good drive. She's got about 130 yards to the hole.
Mm-hmm. What club do you guess she may be using, Judy?
I would
Unless
think
you know.
no more than an 8-iron, maybe even a 9-iron. There's a little wind helping on this hole still. That looks like a good shot.
Oh,
beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Lovely shot. Okamoto, who is 4 over today.
I have to tell you all, Betsy has about 105 yards to the hole. She is hitting the ball so far off the tee, I'm really amazed. And Mr. Marr knows I never exaggerate.
Mr. Marr, Judy, I'm going to get you. Look how much she chokes down on a club, though. That's sort of unique to her, isn't it?
Well, I don't think this is even a full pitching wedge for her.
Boy,
she is really pumped
that was
up,
as
huh?
high as the World Trade Center, and
That's
it
right.
still wouldn't hold on, would it?
Well, downwind, but she is really pumped up.
Yes, indeed. The adrenaline is going. All right, Amy now for par at the par 3 15th, where she put her tee shot in the bunker. Okay. Right, only 3 holes left for Amy. There's 3 shots behind the leader at the moment. Now on videotape, Sally Little, 2nd shot at the par 5 12th.
Go. Go.
Oh, good shot.
1 and 2. And our leaderboard at the moment. Judy Dickinson and Okamoto. Still all in contention there. But one lady is the boss at the moment, and that's Betsy King.
Rosenthal and Richard, two rookies. They're really having a fight here for Rookie of the Year. They've both done just great. $64,000 for Rosenthal in money winnings and $56,000 for Richard.
This is Jane Geddes at the 14th. Oh, my. There was so much English on that, you couldn't understand it.
Yeah, you've got to be a little bit unlucky. Wow, I'm looking to spin it back that far.
Examine the grooves there. All right, Betsy King now at the 11th. Her second shot downwind ended up there. Well, that's what she has now. Sally Little, in the meantime, on this par 5 and 2 shots. Let's get this approach putt up. Come on, more. Wow. All right, Frank, what is the situation with them on slope play now, Frank Hannigan?
Well, as Rossi reported earlier, they've been warned about slow play. And we have a system that's triggered on slow play. When a group falls more than a hole behind and they're taking more than 12 minutes to play each hole, there begins to be a series of, it's stopwatched. And out there is PJ Boatwright, the USGA, timing them. When she has 6 what we call bad times, she then would be penalized 2 strokes. And she's had 3 or 4 bad times so far, and she's been told 2 more to go, and she'd get a 2-stroke penalty.
Is it just Little that would be penalized, or both in the group?
It would just be Sally Little, unless Deborah Shard also has a number of slow times.
Oh, coming back into it.
Lovely putt. He picks up one.
At least one, because Betsy still has about a
she does.
2.5, 3-footer there.
Character builder.
You see how fast it can change if you should happen to miss this. You don't want to keep leaving yourself these little character builders, Jack, because no matter how well you putt, you're going to miss some of these throughout your life.
Yeah, around the 17th hole. Huh?
After a fresh press.
Yeah. All right, safely in that time.
Not today, though.
Now, Sally, for a birdie attempt here. Well, that's too bad. She hit 2 beautiful shots to get on in 2 on the par 5, and 3 putts in under any guise, any disguise are bad. This is the 14th green, and Jane Geddes from Dallas, Texas. Remember, that ball spun so far back on her.
Her best finish last year, Jack, was in the Open where she tied for 8th, so she likes this championship.
Started today 2 over, now 1 over. And maybe...
Looking good, too.
Even! Way to go. Right. Very nice putt. Nice birdie here for Jane Geddes. Put her at even par, just 2 shots behind Betsy King. All right, there was a major championship here before in 1969, and we're going to ask Jim McKay and David Marr to review it for us.
Dave, this was the tournament, I think, where Ray Floyd really came of age. He'd been the hotshot youngster and so forth, but he hadn't won a major up to here.
And when's the last time you saw a mock turtleneck on a player, just to date you a little bit there? Yeah. But his swing has changed so much. If you remember what it looks like now, and then I remembered that it was a real classical-looking swing. His manner hasn't changed that much, though, Jim. Still very serious on the golf course.
Yeah, has that dignified walk, really. He beat Gary Player in a very tight battle. That was the tournament where some demonstrators interrupted play and grabbed Gary Player's ball off a green one time, but it was Floyd the winner. You're talking about his swing. Why don't we take a look at swing then, swing now?
All right, the swing on the left, obviously, is the old one. We'll see that Raymond gets his hands up much higher and a much more straightaway move. Now he's much more inside, and then at this point raises his arms up and gets into somewhat the same position. See his
Definitely
feet?
in the same position at the important moment.
Oh, yes. That's where all the great players are the same. Through the ball, down in that area. He's a little more under it now. Still a good half finish.
All right, a little history there. Raymond Floyd, the current United States Open men's champion, who won this PGA championship right here. Sally Little now.
That's left, Jack. Caught the edge of the green there, but a long way from the hole.
And now Geddes at the 15th, fresh from that birdie. It's also a par 3.
Here, turn over. She wants it to go left a little bit. It rolled down that hill. It green slopes from the player's right to left. Just never did move. She gets a lot of spin on that ball. You notice how much speed she has going through there. That puts the spin on it.
David, do you think someone like Jane Geddes, who's been sort of lurking back in the pack, has an advantage on the final day if she's close to the lead? And has she had less pressure maybe than some of these players who've been close to the lead all week?
I don't really think so when you got a Betsy King up there that's won tournaments before. I think she knows exactly where she is with a 2-stroke lead over Little, and that she's just sailing along, really, and knows that if she'll just keep hitting good shots, while the pressure's on Judy Dickinson and on Jane Geddes, they have got to make some birdies. Pressure's on them to do it.
Up, all right.
There's someone say sit.
Stop. Oh, my.
Well, that's just a little left of where you want it to be. Obviously, that green slopes right to left. But she's pitching back up the hill there, so she's got a realistic chance of whether she pitches it or puts it out of the tall grass to make it.
All right, the 12th hole now is a par 5, 434 yards, and I guess I don't know how conditions are today, but most of the week some of them have been able to get home in 2.
It depends on how big a drive you hit here. Of course, we just saw Sally Little knock it on the front edge, which I'm not sure was fortunate in her case. You might be better off chipping when you're that far away.
Go.
See what Okamoto does here. Looks like she gets into about the same place Sally Little was a little while ago.
Yes.
All right, Judy, where's Betsy?
Betsy is once again about 20 yards ahead of where Ioka was, and I believe she's playing a long iron, probably 170, 75 yards to the front of the green. But the pin is back 37 paces.
Sounded fat.
A little low and left, I believe. And
Almost
maybe in big trouble.
Way left. Almost the same kind of shot as yesterday, but even more left than yesterday. And she is in some tall stuff over there, Judy. You might want to go have a look at that, or might not want to look at it.
That bush may be a problem,
When your spotter can't find it right away, I see a lady over there looking.
Well, there's a fence line there also, and it looks like the ball could be in a place where she might have a difficult time making a backswing.
Well, there you go. You figure this might be a good birdie opportunity, and up jumps the devil.
That's what makes this game so great. There's no shoe-ins, for no cinch pars.
Sally Little at 13 on videotape. Just a few moments ago. And at the moment, that's the leaderboard. Pat Bradley finished, +2, has posted that. That's what they have to beat. But next week, we'll all be over in west coast of Scotland, the Scottish Riviera at Turnberry, for the British Open. Third round coverage will be live Saturday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, and the final round on Sunday, 10:30 Eastern Time, July 19th and 20th here on ABC. Turnberry. Return to the scene of one of the great face-offs of all time, I guess.
That was
Nicklaus and Watson in '77.
That was unbelievable golf they played.
All right, Jane Geddes now at 15. Remember, Jane now is even. Tied with Sally Little for second at the moment.
Putt will break right to left, slightly downhill.
Looking good. Oh, my. Heartbreak, huh? That looked so good.
I know it did to her. She's had a nice little, you know, career has been short so far, but she's come right out, and she won over 100,000 last year in her third year on the tour. That's playing golf.
She's one of those strong young players we were talking about, David. She hits the ball a long way.
Oh, yes. Good putt there for Sally Little to remain at even. All right, Judy, what's the story on Betsy King here at 12?
Well, Jack, she has a very difficult shot to play, but she does have a shot.
Oh.
The fence is not a factor. It's farther back than I thought. But she can just barely see the ball through deep grass and vines and what looks like might even be poison ivy. I think if she can get the club on the ball, she can get the ball on the very back part of the green or the far left side of the green. There are limbs in front of her that she'll have to keep it under.
Yeah, you can tell she can't see it because the caddy had to point it out to her where it is.
It's very difficult to see the ball.
Hey, you can't bend any branches, folks, or you can't knock down any leaves there. You got to leave, just take your stance and just don't be clearing out any area.
She appears to have a very lofted club from my viewpoint, and I really don't know what she has in mind.
Yeah, she's probably going to just have to pick it up kind of quick.
Break those wrists
and,
quickly.
And just chop down on it. This is not one that you're going to judge on form. We're just going to judge this one on the result.
Well, she has 2 or 3 small trees behind her that'll keep her from making a very big backswing.
Turning a relatively easy hole into a hard one.
That's about the worst shot we've seen her hit all week, isn't it?
Of course, the nice thing about it is she has a stroke to spare and still make a par here.
Sounded like she caught it flush.
She hit it very well, but it's a little bit long.
Well, she's there in 3 in the par 5, so par is still a possibility.
That's okay, though. It could have been a lot of things down there.
Slightly reminiscent of Greg Norman at 13.
At your place.
At the U.S. Open, yes. Sally Little now at the 14th tee. Nice short par 3, but oh my, is it a nice hole. Par 4, rather. Dog leg left.
Beautiful drive. Yes, the more to the right you can get on this, the easier your second shot becomes. Fine little green here.
All right, we're back at 12 there with King and Okamoto as we look at the leaderboard. Little Joan Pitcock, the amateur, holding in there very nicely. Now we have Okamoto, who's on here in 2 on this par 5. Fresh from a birdie at the 11th. If she's able to get down in 2 putts here, she'll move to even par. There's her scorecard for today so far. 40 going out, which amazing she's in such good shape after that.
Shows you the pressure and the toughness of the course. This course doesn't really look hard, but doggone if you can shoot many good scores on it.
We'll see the break there very easily. Oh, what a lovely approach.
Great putt. great putt when you think that's about where Sally Little
Yep.
had it a moment ago and didn't figure it near as well.
This is Jan Stevenson at the 18th.
She just never got it going this week, Jack.
No, she didn't, did she?
She felt she was prepared, and you just never know, though. Putts didn't drop for her, and that's the story of her game usually.
Well, the leader. This will be her 4th shot at this par 5.
Get up. Get up. Get up.
Oh.
Well, now.
There's that left for par.
Things happen so fast in this game, really. You know, just a moment ago, she was standing there able to reach the green on the par 5, and now she's got about an 8-footer for par.
Here's Sally Little.
Coming right into the wind, Jack. A pretty, really easy shot to get close here.
Oh, she's done it, Rossi. Beautifully done. Birdie opportunity here for Sally Little, who's just, at the moment, 2 shots behind Betsy King.
Yeah, it could put her in a tie. If Betsy misses and she makes.
This is Amy Alcott. 2nd shot at 17, uphill.
Amy really needs to make a birdie now. 17 has got to be your choice. 18's a hard hole. Nope.
Okay.
Ooh, that's bad down
over the
there,
green.
too.
All right, here's the par putt. Oh my, that might be the tournament. Oh, what a gallant, courageous putt.
That really does help you. And there is always a turning point in a round, as you said.
indeed.
There's always a putt or a shot that you make that
I will
really settles you down.
Well, she just stepped up to that and went bang as if it was known all the way. All right, Okamoto now.
Now that changes her.
Her putt becomes a little more.
Looked like there for a minute she's going to pick up at least 1.
Maybe 2, but not now. She can pick up 1. Yeah, she must be feeling very good.
Well, just get her mind back on the game. Don't take any more chances. Take enough club. I think she hit that shot because she was trying to force that iron up.
All right, she gets it. That puts her at even par, and we'll return with more golf action after this message and a word from our local stations.
Let's have a look at Amy Alcott's shot here on the 17th hole. Amy running out of holes, 1 over par, over to the right side of the green in 2. But Amy doesn't give up. Have a look. Is that a good shot?
That's a marvelous shot there, Jim. That is pitching up over a steep hill. She probably could just see the top of the flag there.
Now the par 3 13th, 175 yards long. Here is the leader coming off that courageous par on the 12th hole, a hole she might have expected to birdie. But that par was a very important one, as Jack indicated.
Good shot. Good shot.
Yeah. We're going to come up to 18 now because Jody Rosenthal of Minnesota has had herself quite a back 9. Jody had gotten to 6 over for the championship, 3 over for the day, and suddenly she birdied 11, eagled 12, birdied 13. She needs par here. Par for a 32 on the back 9 and a round of 71. That equals the best back 9 of the championship, turned in by Amy Alcott on the 2nd round and Okamoto on the 3rd round. Jody Rosenthal is only 23 years old. She's a comer in the game.
She certainly is, Jim. She played in this championship last year as an amateur, Curtis Cup player. Great short game, good swing, not real long, but you'll hear from her.
Jody, the 84 British amateur champion. She's an American. Now Okamoto. This is on videotape on the par 3 hole. She was hitting first before Betsy King. Okamoto, every time she seems to falter, she comes back at you. But she needs something now. She's at even par, you know.
Another good chance for a birdie there.
In fact, has birdied the last 2 holes. 15th tee. Deb Richard playing it kind of cozy there, but here
Watch
it comes.
this come on down, though. That's pretty steep slope right to left.
Mm-hmm. Deb had 76, 69, 72, and 1 over so far today.
That's starting with a double bogey. So she's fought back very well.
Sally Little, slow, deliberate player, at even par, 2 shots out. But here's the par 3. Another opportunity for birdie here, really, if he can get it close.
Some of the players felt that this championship might be decided by these par 3s on the back 9 because they're long and they're tough.
Pretty tough pin placement there today if you want to go for it. That's the difference when you're leading. You can go for the middle of the green a little bit, right?
I don't think Betsy King's doing that, though. She seems to be flying at every pin.
You can see Sally trying to urge that one to come left. It's a fine shot. Look at this swing, Dave.
Nice upright swing. Good position there. Good posture she has at the ball. Standing up nice and straight with her knees flexed. Her left knee goes behind the ball, which is where you want it to get the weight on your right side. Now, as she starts down, the first move ought to be the weight going back to the left heel, which in turn starts the upper part of your body. Good position there at the ball. Right knee pointed down in front of the ball, which means your weight has moved through. Good full finish there. She doesn't look as though she's hurt now, Rhonda.
No, I think she's well.
Back. Well, that's good, because game's tough enough without being sick or hurt.
She's had more illness and injuries than Andy North. Betsy King, though, the leader by 2 over Little and Okamoto. She's had a real international feel this year. Sally, an American now, but certainly from South Africa originally. Pat Bradley in the clubhouse with that 2 over par, 290. That's the one that somebody has to beat. Jody Rosenthal has tied it now, but nobody has beat it. Betsy King. Well, the siren this time is not to say that play is stopped anyway. It's somewhere else.
Big break to the right here. Down the hill. That should be to the right of the hole there. That's more break than that.
All right. Shouldn't have a problem for the par here. Betsy King getting closer and closer to a championship. I asked her a little bit earlier if she has been having fun in this strange week.
Well, it's been fun, but basically for me, when I get on the course, it's pretty much business, and so it's a little bit of a grind. Particularly today was a long day for us, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. I just hope I have enough energy to make it through.
Yes, she was once upon a time the Athlete of the Year at Furman University, male or female. And just last year was the Pro Athlete of the Year in South Carolina. So this is no Joni come lately, Betsy come lately. Okamoto still grinding. Started the day 2 under, has lost 2 strokes to par, but has gotten a couple back in the last 2 holes. As we said earlier, you know they're watching the middle of the night in Japan, but they stay up all night to watch these tournaments over there.
There were a number of Japanese in her gallery this morning, and they had a sign they held up with huge Japanese letters, and I asked a Japanese gentleman what it said, and it said, "Good luck, Ayoko," in Japanese, and I think she saw it.
I'm sure.
You should move just a little bit, about left edge, Jim.
Okay.
Move to the right.
And
it went the other way.
Went the other way, didn't it?
Went the other way.
That's what she's saying to herself in Japanese now.
Well, she watched Betsy's ball go down there, trying to work a little to the right.
That's the par. Back to Amy Alcott's story. This is on videotape. This was the putt for the par after that marvelous shot from the right rough to the side of the green. Oh, my goodness. Look what happened there. So that puts her to 2 over. A par on 18 will put her into still a triple tie for the leaders who have finished their rounds today. A par for 290. Sally Little now on the 15th green. Sally 2 strokes out of the lead. What a difference it would have been if Betsy King had not made that par putt on the last hole.
That
1 stroke and 2 are a big difference.
That was a big putt that she made there.
So Little or Geddes or Okamoto have got to get a birdie or 2 going here to get into it with Betsy. Hold everything. Hold everything, guys. Sally Little is not out of it. She goes to 1 under, just 1 stroke behind Betsy King. She has 3 holes to play.
I'll tell you what, though, Jim, she's going to have to be very careful here. She's going to have to speed up her play. That was awfully slow on that, and you'd sure hate to see somebody get a shot at this point.
Yes, she's still in danger,
Or 2.
apparently, of a 2-stroke penalty. Okamoto?
2. Excuse me.
Looked a little left.
Perfect, Jim.
Perfect. As Dave said, just a little left of perfect. Left side of the fairway.
It's a little left of center.
Yes. Thank you, Judy. 14. Shortish par 3, 323 yards. Par 4, I should say. And the leader, Betsy King. Her lead now as narrow as it can be. 1 stroke. Betsy 1 over on today's round. After bogeying the first 3 holes, she has managed to steady. I mean, even when the skies are clear, we've got sirens all over the place here in Dayton this week.
Well, somebody reported the sun is out. They went to get him, huh?
Right rough. Ooh, right rough. All right, Sally Little, first of all, on the 16th tee. This is a par 4 hole. 375 yards. Good shot. Okay, so the leader could have a problem in the right rough there. The lead, a slender stroke. Stay with us.
All right, our leaderboard at the moment, Betsy King by a shot from Sally Little. Betsy at 14 now. And we're happy to report that the Sally Little group has caught up on their time. There's no danger of a penalty stroke at this time anyway. And here's Okamoto. Judy?
It's actually only about 130 yards, and the pin is a little easier on the players today. There's a lot more green to work with in front of it. Beautiful shot.
Oh, wasn't that nice? Ayako is even par, remember? And just a little earlier, here is Betsy King's shot to that 14th. There was her tee shot, sticking, showing pretty well, isn't it?
Well, if you have to miss, the right side of the fairway or the right rough is where to be, because you're shooting down the length of that green there.
Shoot!
She didn't like it.
Into the bunker. And the plot thickens. So at 14, the leader in the bunker. At 16, Sally Little. Rossi?
She's a good-looking shot, but it's got to get up.
Yeah,
One club short, Jack.
Yeah, she was
right on
at
the
it.
flag.
Right at the stick. All right, back at 14. Betsy King, her 3rd shot here at this par 3.
Judy, did you have a chance to look at her lie?
I did, and it's difficult. She's on a slope running downhill and with the ball above her.
Choke up on the club then, right?
Very much so.
It caught the tall grass and didn't come out of there like she was hoping.
Just on the fringe.
Well,
they have quite a few changes.
She's fraught
now.
with possibilities here.
Oh boy.
Problem is, you're still away, and it's you don't want to get in too fast momentum here or too fast a way of playing, take your time. Now, you've just hit really not a real good drive, but not a good second shot. And your bunker shot didn't do what you thought it may do. You don't want to walk off here with a quick 6.
Amy Alcott at 18. There she is. Par 4. Good tournament. Finishes at 2 over. Even par today. And we'll join Jody Rosenthal and Pat Bradley.
Those bogeys at 9 and 10 really stopped Amy's move.
Okay, Betsy King now. Slow down. Slow down. Now look what she has left. Wow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you get to playing too fast, those 6s jump up or double bogeys. I mean, you can. She's made how many of these already on the back 9? Save strokes.
All right, Sally Little at 16. Just off the front of the green. What do you think she was trying to do?
She's trying to make sure she made a 4, too.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what may be happening to her. She may be in the lead by herself here in a second.
All right, Okamoto now. Sally Little made par there and remains at 1 under. If this goes in, no, it doesn't.
Right on the high side.
But Ayoko remains at even par. Now Betsy King for bogey. And these are really hard, aren't they?
They are, because it's all happened so fast, and really, he's making double bogeys.
All right, we have Jane Geddes at 17 for a birdie to go 1 under. And we have Betsy King here for a bogey to be 1 under. So Betsy King, who seemed so much in control, double bogey 6 to go to even par. Sally Little leads the tournament at the moment.
And this could put Geddes in a tie for the lead with Little.
That's it.
Oh, how about this?
That is it. Co-leaders, Little and Geddes.
I think Jane's going to have a little surprise, Rhonda, I think, when she walks up on 18 or sees her next scoreboard that she's tied for the lead.
Boy, she's intense, though. I don't think it's going to bother her one bit.
Well, I don't think it'll bother her, but it'd be a pleasant surprise for her.
How quickly and swiftly it changes. Sally Little, Jane Geddes lead. Betsy King now 1 behind, tied with Ayaka. And Pat Bradley, Amy Alcott, and Dickinson and Rosenthal all in at 2 over. Now at the 15th tee, 185 yards, par 3. Okamoto and King. Just a little narrow par 3, testing little thing.
Now, the shot you try to play that you want to play is just to the right of the flag. It's a little bit uphill, so it plays a full 185 up to the hole, but the green slopes quite a bit from right to left, just the opposite of the 13th hole that slopes the other way. Contour is right to left, so if you can play some kind of draw, let the green help you. Just
there
like
again,
that.
she's hit it
Just
beautifully.
Like oh, what a good shot.
Sally Little at the 17th. Dog leg right.
Rossi?
Beautiful drive right down the middle of the fairway. Relatively short, though. I don't know if that was a driver or not. I'll tell you, the warning might help everybody that plays this game of golf. If you'll notice, this group is now 2 full holes ahead of the last group.
Betsy King at 15.
Really good shot. Oh, she's going to lose it off the left side.
Just like Judy Dickinson did a little while ago. You get left there, and it really does move a lot left if you get left of that flag.
18th tee, Jane Geddes, co-leader. Oh, that's
perfect.
so good.
That is the way you dreamed about it last night.
I think Jane isn't pumped up a little bit now. We'll return with more golf action after this message and a word from our local stations.
On the 17th fairway, this is Sally Little, tied for the lead in the U.S. Women's Open Golf Championship. She has not won a tournament since 1982. She's been bedeviled by illness and by injuries. But suddenly last week, for the first time in several years, she finished 8th in the tournament at Houston in the debilitating heat down there. And maybe apparently was serving notice that she is back in business. Tied for the lead with Jane Geddes, who's playing 18.
135 yards.
Okay, Ross.
Good looking shot.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful.
Oh, yes. So Sally Little will have that birdie opportunity on 15. Okamoto, let's not forget about her. She's only 1 shot out. This par 3 hole, this putt for the birdie. And touched the side of the hole.
Well, she's hit 2 good putts at 14, 15.
Okay. Ayako Okamoto. Par at 15. She's still even for the championship. Now, Betsy King now has a long putt for a par again, we are told here. Remember, she was just off the green in the second cut of the rough. She must have sculled it a bit. Betsy 1 stroke behind just when she seemed to have command of the championship with a 2-stroke lead on the par 5 12th hole, in which you would expected her quite probably to have a birdie. She had to pull out a par, almost made a bogey there, but then has gone from bad to worse. And she has to look back to the fact that she bogeyed the first 3 holes today. But she still hangs in there.
Is that any good?
I tell you.
Wow.
So she's still only 1 behind. You see her running off the green.
I guess so. You just stole a par
Now
there.
Jane Geddes. Jane Geddes has not had a bogey today. Is that the secret of the U.S. Open? She parred the first 11 holes, has picked up a couple of birdies since then.
What a shot.
Oh, boy.
What a shot right on line.
So she'll have a birdie opportunity of that length on 18 at the same time that Sally Little has a reasonable birdie opportunity on 17. So either one has a chance to go win this tournament. It does not look like either one is going to throw it away.
What a great shot.
Wasn't it, though?
Oh, man.
26-year-old touring professional, born in Huntington, Long Island, New York. Now here's Judy Dickinson, who was in this competition for so long, but now is 2 over, not that far behind, but 1 over on today's round.
Great shot.
And look at that. She'll have that to bring it back to 1 over. Let's move to the 16th tee now with Ayako Okamoto. Just 1 stroke out of the lead, and she has more birdie opportunities than the others do at this point. Par 4, 375 yards. Okay.
Perfect.
Just about right, Ross, huh?
That's a perfect drive, Jim.
Excuse me, Judy, yeah. There's a look at the hole.
Dogleg right. 16 and 17 both. And 18's dogleg left.
Now Betsy King, who will not give up.
I think this is probably one of the more difficult driving holes on the course.
Boy.
Why is it
Okay.
a tough drive, Judy?
Well, the whole dog leg's to the right, but it's very tree lined, and there's no forgiveness. If you miss the fairway, you can't play to the green.
Okay, and now the gallery building around the final hole, and this is the reception for Jane Geddes, who just quietly played her game. As we said, parring the first 11 holes, then birdieing 12, she birdied 14, she birdied 17. There you see it, 3 birdies, no bogeys. A par here for 69. If she makes the birdie, she could win the championship, not definitely, but could win the championship, and would have the lowest round of the tournament. That would be a good way to win anything, wouldn't it? Looking for her first victory in her professional career, and of course Kathy Baker made the Women's Open her first victory last year. Sally Little, meanwhile, has other thoughts about who's going to win this. If there's a playoff, of course, it's not sudden death. Remember, it's 18 holes tomorrow, and ABC Sports will be televising that.
I think this ought to move a little left to right for her. To the left as you view it at home.
Not quite. Good putt, but not quite. A little on the low side. So it'll be a par for Sally Little at 17, and on 18, this birdie opportunity for Geddes to take the lead for the first time in the tournament. It's the final hole.
You're almost in a sudden death type situation, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
This would really put the pressure on everybody else. She didn't hit
No,
it.
didn't like it at all. Just didn't hit it.
Didn't hit it. Okay. Well, just keep your mind on what you're doing there, young lady. You got a little bit left to.
Oh, you know, Lou Cody and our scorer has been watching up there, and nobody who's been below the hole on 18 today has put it past the hole. They just, the green's slower, coming up the hill. Has to make sure of this. So she has her par on the 18th hole, a round of 69, not a bogey to be seen, and Jane Geddes could have put herself into a playoff for the U.S. Women's Open, could still conceivably win it today. Sally Little for the par at 17 to stay in the fight, to stay even for the lead. And she does. So now, can she create a birdie opportunity for herself on 18? Well, back on 16, Ayako Okamoto continues. 1 stroke behind. And she can putt.
She can play, too.
Yeah.
Jim, she's about 155 yards. I would think probably a 6-iron shot. And if there's a player in the field that has a chance to get it close to this pin today, it might be Ayoko, because she's very good at moving the ball left to right.
Well, let's see. She didn't like it.
She started it left, but didn't move it.
No, no. There you see it. A long way from the hole. Wasn't what she had in mind. Now Betsy King. Can she get back into this? Having had command, having lost it, having hung by her fingernails now for a couple of holes.
She's just a few yards closer.
She can play a left to right, too, can't she, Judy?
Yes, she can, and she brings the ball in very high. She started it left also.
Sounded fat again, unless this mic is just not
I
as
don't
loud.
think so. It's past the pin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, she's okay. Now to the 18th tee. Sally Little facing that large gallery around the final hole. Well aware a birdie will win for her. A par probably will tie her for the championship.
Left. Okay, got a nice
Well,
little
now,
bounce there.
could that be a little snug on the left side?
Could be. Pull back and...
No, looks like she's got a
well,
shot.
she left herself a long second shot, though, it looks like.
And there have been a lot of players, as we've noticed, they're leaving it short on that second shot today, too.
I don't think that's the case, David. I've been watching a few drives of just of the two girls ahead, and this drive's about the same spot.
Is it?
Yeah, it's almost to the bunker.
But it's on the left. But there's no problem with the tree there at all?
No, she's perfect.
Okay, Rosie. Deb Richard now. In the same group. 3 over for the championship, 2 over for the day. And she has passed Sally Little, as you see, but not by too much. About 5 yards. Okamoto and King, remember, behind. Must get birdies to get into a tie. Little can still take the lead with a birdie here. Only 4 birdies on this hole today. And there were 78 players who started. Of course, some of them still out on the course, but not many.
Quite a tournament.
Yes, it is, Rossi. Quite a tournament. Out to 16. King in the reddish-orange, or orangish-red. Okamoto off the edge. Boy, you know, what a tournament we had at Shinnecock Hills for the U.S. Open Championship. What a championship we're having here. And coming up, our next stop, we'll be moving right over across the sea to England, to Scotland. Wow, not England. They don't like you to say that up there. To Scotland, to Turnberry, where Jack Nicklaus and Tom Watson had their memorable head-to-head battle in 1977 for the British Open Golf Championship. And you see our coverage there. Starts at noon on Saturday Eastern Time, 10:30 on Sunday Eastern Time. Make your plans now. Don't forget to get up at a reasonable hour, because it's going to be live. We're not going to hold it on tape or any of that. Okamoto. 2 over for the day. She had earlier rounds of 76, then 69, 69. Only 2 foreign players have ever won the U.S. Women's Open. Faye Crocker of Argentina and Catherine Lacoste of France as an amateur. Very good. Very good. But what she needs is a birdie somewhere. So does her fellow competitor, Betsy King, who takes a good look at her situation as we view the overall scoring situation right there. So Pat Bradley will not win the third one of the Grand Slam. She had a fine final round of 69, but it was not good enough. Jane Geddes is now the leader of those who have finished. Betsy King here, action everywhere. Sally Little still standing by on the 18th fairway. We'll be coming back to her. No, no, no. In fact, no, no.
Left herself one. She's made a lot of those in this back nine.
Now then, Sally Little, apparently not feeling the effects of this long grind that we've had here since Thursday.
Shot of about 155, and to get it back there, she may have to hit a little knockdown 5 or a hard 6.
Oh, it's a great shot. Oop, should come down from there, but it's stopped up on the hillside.
Good shot, though.
Excellent shot.
Level putt there. Little uphill, as you can see, but
2 putts from there, and she goes in tied for the lead.
nothing tricky about that putt, Jim. Just as your scorer pointed out, it's a lot slower than the players have been figuring out all day.
Yep. Betsy King did make that putt for the par back there, so she hangs it even par. Okamoto needing this for a par to stay still, only 1 shot out of the lead.
Betsy's really put the excitement back into 2-putt, hadn't she, on this back nine?
Yes, she has. Yes. 2 putts can be thrilling. Okay. She's still there. 1 shot out of the lead. Still the possibility of a 3 or 4 player playoff at 18 holes tomorrow. Still the possibility that Sally Little could make the putt to take the lead. Let's go down to Rhonda now, just below the tower. Okay, Rhonda, you're on.
All right, Jane Geddes, a 26-year-old from Dallas, Texas, who, Jane, I didn't think you knew where you stood in this tournament until after you holed out your final putt on 18 and took a look at that scoreboard.
I did, and I thought that Betsy was at 2 under, and I wanted to look at the board on 18, and I didn't look, and I'm glad I didn't because I was nervous enough over my putt as it was.
All right, Sally Little is sitting up here on the green just to the right of the pin. What do you think of her putt now? If she makes this one, she could beat you.
Sally's a great putter. She's got a tough putt there. This pin is in a real tough place, so who knows?
Did you think this morning when you got up that you might have a chance to win this championship?
I felt real good all week. I hit the ball really well. I wasn't making a whole lot of birdies. I made a few yesterday, and I felt really good about it. You know, anything can happen on this golf course, and it did today, so I'm really happy where I stand.
All right, you're a resident of Dallas, and you sometimes work with Lee Trevino. How has he helped your game?
Well, I work with Lee a little bit, probably at the end of last year. He's not in Dallas a whole lot, but when he is and when we play together, he just, you know, Lee's such a good shot maker, and that kind of rubs off on you watching him play and, you know, helping out with a few shots and stuff like that. So, you know, every little bit helps.
Your family is here. Have you been talking to them at all throughout the round?
Oh, they've been there the whole way. My poor mom, she's played every shot with me, so they're standing right over there, and they're more excited than I am.
Well, you tell the people in the Geddes family not to make any plane reservations yet.
I know it. Good thing.
All right, back to you, Jim.
All right. Jane Geddes very happy. Unusual that a player does not know how they stand coming to the 18th green. They usually, whether they want to or not, you got to sneak a glance at that board, huh?
Or somebody may tell you from time to time, thinking they're doing you a favor. Hey, you tied the lead. You say, huh?
I think I said earlier that Faye Crocker was from Argentina when she won the U.S. Women's Open. Uruguay, I believe it was. It's right next door to Argentina.
Well,
smaller,
unless
a lot
you're
smaller.
walking, it's right next door. All right.
Okay, now, Sally Little can take the lead with this putt.
Kind of whistling there a little bit, getting some air. I know how she feels, Jim.
34 years old. She's been in this kind of a situation before. Knows all about pressure.
Better go.
Nope. And like everybody else, almost everybody else today, she's left this one short. And we'll have to make very sure of that to come in tied for the lead at 1 under for the championship. That would be a score of 287. So now, if she makes that putt, the continuing story will be, can either King or Okamoto move into that tie for the lead? Or can one of them get a couple of birdies? We've seen such things happen. Deb Richard, she's had a good tournament. 76, then a 69, a 72, and today she's 2 over. A par here will give her a 74.
Hit it, Deb.
And she didn't give it enough either.
Once again.
They just don't see that, do they? Easy for us to say. We can tell
It
you.
is after we watch it all day.
Yeah.
And you see it, whether you're talking the men's tour, that's still a good finish. Good round by a former amateur champion.
Yep.
Having a fine rookie year. Jim, this is no sense that Sally has here. And it's been a long time since she's been under the gun like this. And she's had to stand there and wait a little while, and they never get shorter while you're waiting.
Oh, yep.
Boy, she had pulled out. I bet you're
Oh, boy.
Gave it a little rush there.
For Sally Little, a 2-under round of 70 today. She has tied for the lead in the Women's Open. After 4 years of injuries, illness, and frustration. But the tournament isn't over.
Whoops, she's well, better mark that camera. Huh?
That's right. Now, back out to those who cannot relax and accept congratulations and hugs from supporters. Another look at Sally's putt here. See how close that was to missing on the left side. Up on the right side looks like you're looking. Yeah. Now, back out to 17, Betsy King. Whoops. Problem here, Ross.
I think Judy's with that group.
Judy, excuse me, yes.
Jim, she has to keep the ball under the tree limbs here and probably move the ball left to right to have any chance to put it on the green anywhere. Shot of about 145 yards to the hole. She has a good lie even though she's in the rough.
Great shot.
Really a great shot.
Oh, boy.
Nothing impossible about that birdie attempt she's got up there. Now remember that Betsy bogeyed the first 3 holes today. Get back to even par. Then she got a birdie on 7 and birdie on 8. Got back to 2 under again. Then she had her problems on the back 9. On the 14th hole, she had the double bogey.
That's the one that, if she doesn't win, she'd have to look back on. Not so much the start, but she got back in control and then couldn't handle it.
Okamoto.
She had hit a perfect drive. And a pretty good second shot.
Good second shot. Okay, so they've each had their opportunities to move into that tie for the lead on the 17th hole. Stay with us. It's not over.
Welcome back to the last 15 minutes of drama in this U.S. Women's Open. Sally Little and Jane Geddes are tied at 1 under. Betsy King and Ayaka Okamoto, if they birdie the next 2 holes, they would be tied. If they birdie one of the next 2, there'll be a 4-way playoff. But these 2 at 17 green now are the only ones with a chance to win outright. And to do that, they need birdie. Both have good chances here at 17.
And King's a little closer, has maybe a little bit better chance. This ball ought to move from her left to right. To the right.
She can't help us.
All right, she marks now, and Betsy King, who just was steaming along in complete control of this tournament, now faces the challenge of birding 17 and 18 to win.
Or at this point, she's got to be thinking, you know, you want to make one of them. Now, you kind of gotten off to a bad start with bogeys the first 3 holes, and then you made that horrible double bogey over at 14. You've kind of kicked it away twice. Now, am I going to get another chance?
There've only been 5 birdies at 17 all day. She had only 4 at the 18. But Betsy hit a magnificent second shot here.
Yeah, she's putting a little more downhill. Ball should move. Yeah, it shouldn't have too much break to it, I don't think. No, just straight. Now you have to birdie 18.
Okamoto for par. Wow, it certainly changed quickly, didn't it, back there?
That's what can happen in this game. it's a game in a way that seems to be played slowly, but things happen fast.
All right, par for Ioka. That's even for her. A chance for a birdie at 18 to get into the playoff. And the same for Betsy. And now the only question is, will the playoff be between 2, 3, or 4?
That's it.
And now Rhonda is down below with Sally Little. Rhonda?
Well, Sally, to tell you the truth, I really did not expect to see you in this position. I know you've been through a lot of health problems in the past couple of years. You lost your father recently. I didn't think that you really had the endurance to get to this point, but here you are tied for the lead in the Women's Open.
Well, Rhonda, as far as I'm concerned, it's been a long time. I mean, it's been 3 years of an upward struggle for me, but I think I'm in very good shape. Anytime you go through such a huge metabolic change that I went through there for 3 years, it's very hard on you mentally. But now I feel I can concentrate more on my golf game. I've been working really hard in the last month and a half with Peter Costas, and that's really helped me a lot. I'm slowly getting my confidence back. Carla Glasgow is here this week, who's a very good friend of mine and a good teacher. She's helped me too.
All right, Sally, thanks very much. Stay tuned for the playoff possibility, and back to Jim.
Thank you very much, Rhonda. Here's the 18th, downhill from the tee, slight dog leg, a tremendous green. And the pin today, back, right, crosswind.
Which they may not be able to feel from their second shot stand if they're in the fairway.
Kick down.
A little left. Come on, get out of there.
Yeah. Well, the problem there, as you'll see here in a minute, is trees. But she may have a shot. Judy, are you anywhere near there?
Well, I think she has a shot. It appears to be in the first cut of rough, the shorter rough, so I'll have to get over there and take a look.
Okay. Now, Betsy King. She's had the highs and the lows today.
It's been up and down.
You know, the unfortunate thing about Betsy's demise here is that the second shot on 14 was one of the easier shots she's had today.
Is that, she's saying 4, Judy. Is that left?
Yes, it is
kicks
left.
Back down, but it is up there on the left. That's not far, I guess, from Okamoto. And we'll get a report a little later from Judy on that as we look down on the final hole of this United States Women's Open, and we'll be back for the conclusion in a moment.
Barring an absolute miracle, there will be a playoff tomorrow for the U.S. Women's Open Golf Championship. Of course, if one of these two players would put their second shot in the hole, and they're going to have trouble enough getting it to the green, they would win. Otherwise, it's a question only of whether we'll have a 2-player playoff, 3 players, or 4 players. That could still happen. It'll be at 18 holes. Nowadays, of course, there are several ways that golf championships are decided. The normal way on tour is the sudden death playoff, where you just continue right on. PGA Championship is also that way. In the British Open, there is a new format that hasn't come into use yet because it hasn't been the occasion, where they have a 5-hole playoff. In other words, just not one hole at a time. You play 5, and whoever has the lowest score at the end of those 5, total for the 5, would be the winner, and then, only then, if they're still tied, go into sudden death. But here, as in the U.S. Open, the men's tournament, it's 18 holes tomorrow, and it'll be at least Sally Little and Jane Geddes. Will it be Betsy King and or Ayako Okamoto? We're going to find out. That'll be at 4 o'clock Eastern on ABC Sports. On the 18th fairway, both of them drove considerably left. Betsy King further left than Okamoto. Ross?
Judy?
Judy? Why do I get a...
Well, I tell you, they're both about 155 yards from the flag. Betsy is farther up the hill and has the more difficult shot, but she has a very good lie in the rough. The ball's sitting up, and she has a very reasonable chance to hit the ball over these trees on the left side.
Well, I think with her swing, too, Judy, you know, she really attacks that ball going through there. She,
yes.
I think, stands to be a little better out of the rough than Okamoto does, who's more of a swinger or sweeper out of the rough.
Well, Ayoko has caught a bad lie here, real bad. This is a 6 or 7 iron. Just made it over the trees.
Oh, another fine shot, short, but very good shot.
Well, first of all, she's got to get over the trees, and if she just made it, then that's as much club as she could chance using, because if you knocked it in the trees, you didn't have any chance for birdie at all.
So she has a long, long birdie attempt that she would have to sink in order to get into that playoff. Remember, she led by 2 strokes, did Betsy King, fairly late in the tournament here. Then she made a double bogey at the 14th hole, and that'll get you every time.
Okay, you can see that ball is sitting down, Jim, and you've got to gouge it out of there, and with your feet above the ball, it stands a chance of getting to the right more on you than you want it to be.
That's good. Fine shot.
She played a fine shot.
Just about where Sally Little was for her birdie attempt. All of this conducted by the USGA, which has the very nice associates program, about which something now. Back again at the Women's Open. Not quite over, but one of these 2 players must make their putt in order to move into a playoff. Some alphabetical scores while we have just a minute here. Amy Alcott finished at 2 over. She was in almost all the way. The defending champion, Kathy Baker, finishing at 8 over there. Sylvia Bertolacini of Argentina. Jane Blaylock didn't have a great tournament. Pat Bradley at 2 over made a great effort in her effort for the Women's Grand Slam, but it was not to be. Geraldine Britz there, another former champion. Joanne Carner shot even par today. Beth Daniel, first day she was in there, but not for too long this year. Judy Dickinson gave it another fine effort as she did last year. Jane Geddes, of course, is in the playoff. And Chris Johnson played well, Lauren Howe. Betsy King, of course, even now, but she's not finished her round yet. Kathy Kretzer, his brother had trouble with not having enough golf balls on the course the other day in Williamsburg. And by the way, that tournament in Williamsburg, Virginia today was won by Fuzzy Zeller in a fine comeback.
That's terrific. It's good to see Fuzzy playing well. Now, let's see if she can get the ball to the hole here. Been leaving it short all day, putting up there.
Oh, what a good effort. 2 more turns of the ball. And she would have had that. But Betsy King's effort, which went on so well all week long here, all 4 rounds, has gone not for naught, but not for win. She'll not be here tomorrow.
Yeah, when you play all week and you don't win after really sort of having things in control, you really have a letdown, Jim.
3 over, par round of 75. That said it all, her little expression. And
yeah.
Tomorrow again, the playoff will be at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll be coming to you live.
Your little buddy there, Pitcock, was the low amateur.
Yeah, I was just looking at Joan's score there. Joan Pitcock at the age of 19. Congratulations to her, being low amateur in the U.S. Women's Open. More alphabetical scores. Cassie Whitworth at 17 over still hasn't won the Women's Open.
Just can't get off to a start.
Bringing up the rear alphabetically was Mary Beth Zimmerman. Okamoto's now. Her final effort.
Okay, this ball doesn't break much, Jim, but the problem has been all day is getting it to the hole. And it's so much harder than you think. And it's, I believe, short also.
Short like everybody else today. So Okamoto also fails to make the playoff. These were the 2 leaders when the day began, but not when the day ended. It'll be Sally Little, the former South African, now an American citizen, going against Jane Geddes of Dallas, Texas, born in Huntington, Long Island, New York, at 18 holes. Should they tie at the end of 18, then they will go to sudden death. So it's been a long weekend, a weekend of travail, a weekend of wind and rain and thunder and lightning and a slight earthquake and the unfortunate train explosion and the phosphorus cloud that was drifting around Dayton this week. And it isn't over yet. The forecast for tomorrow, however, sunny and warm.
Here? Okay, this will tie her for 3rd.
Yep. Round of 74. Ryoko Okamoto. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by Martin Marietta, masterminding tomorrow's technologies in aerospace and information systems. By Hayes Microcomputer Products, a leader in computer communications. Say yes to the future with Hayes. By the investment firm of Smith Barney. They make money the old-fashioned way. They earn it. And by Team Xerox, the right products and the right people all working together. Be sure to join us Tuesday night for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, featuring the best players, of course, from the American League and National League. That'll be live at 8 o'clock Eastern Time from the Astrodome in Houston. Also, next Saturday, be with us for ABC's exclusive live coverage of the British Open Golf Championship from Turnberry. That'll be at noon Eastern Time on Saturday. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. Nobody knows Hawaii like United. And of course, be with us tomorrow for highlights and final live coverage of the playoff for the Women's Open Championship between Jane Geddes and Sally Little at live at 4 Eastern Time. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television. That's Jane. And that is Sally. Good luck to them both tomorrow. Back at NCR, and there is the situation in the 18-hole playoff for the U.S. Women's Open Golf Championship. The 18th of 18 scheduled holes, and Jane Geddes with a two-stroke lead, but she's in trouble on the left rough. Her opponent, however, Sally Little, is in trouble on the right. And Judy Rankin, would you fill us in on Sally's problem here?
Well, I'm not sure I can fill you in on the conclusion of it, but
Well,
she's
getting relief.
Yes,
Yeah.
she drove the ball into a very muddy area outside the gallery ropes that the fans have been walking in. The ball embedded. There is a local embedded rule in effect. She gets a drop, but she appears to have been given relief from the muddy area.
Okay, now remember, that's not in the rules of golf. That must be a local rule. It is within the purview of the committee, as it's always called, to install a local rule, right?
Right, and especially with all the rain you've had this week, to not have the embedded ball rule would not have been fair.
Okay.
There's no rule that says golf has to be fair, but
No.
it's a hard enough game without playing it from underground.
But that is a bit of a break for Sally because she hit a bad tee shot. It was to the right, got into the mud, but got into it far enough that she did get relief, and now she has a decent lie.
Jim, I spoke to P.J. Boatwright, and she was given about an extra club length of relief due to unusual damage caused by the weather in the gallery.
Okay.
Good. Is that the rule of equity?
It would sound like it to me.
That's when you have unusual things happen. You don't get an advantage, really. It's just that you shouldn't have to play from somewhere that was marked up by an outside agency.
Well, it would have been very unfair to have to play from a footprint that was 4 or 5 inches deep.
Well, that's why it's so
How about
important.
impossible?
Yeah, so important in major championships to have a referee and to have a P.J. Boatwright out there to make these unusual rulings.
Sally's having to go to the green with a wood,
About how long a shot?
180 or 90 yards to the hole, and she
Started
has not
left.
hit it well.
No.
Low.
Left rough coming back out towards the fairway, but not quite to the fairway. So, not looking good for Sally, but we have to see now what Jane Geddes can do with this shot. This is the key to the whole deal here.
She's about 170 yards.
Hold it, please. Man. Got it? All right.
She hit it very heavy,
Yep.
clipped the trees.
Comes down onto the fairway. So she's in better shape than Sally is. Remember, she's got a two-stroke lead.
She's in a lot better shape than
Yes.
Sally with the two-stroke lead.
No, but I mean as far as
Yes.
two shots are concerned. Coming down to the finish, finally, it appears, in the U.S. Women's Open. A little bit earlier, Rhonda spoke to Jane Geddes. She had some words that I think are very appropriate for this point in the match.
What do you think this might mean to your career, this good performance?
I've played real well. I played well this whole year and have not won yet, and but I've been right on the brink. And somebody asked me yesterday or the day before if I was ready to win the Open, and I said yes. And I really feel like I am. I feel like I'm, you know, if things go my way and putts fall and that kind of thing happens, you know, I really feel like I'm ready to win.
Well, she may in fact be ready to win. She lies 2 in the fairway. Sally Little lies 2 in the rough and shorter of the green than Jane Geddes is. Both have plenty of room to work with as far as the flagstick is concerned. They have to come up over the bunker, but plenty of room there. Tied for 8th last year. You see, that went sort of unnoticed, but in a way she told us that she was on her way.
And by no means, the way they were playing the last couple of holes, Jim, does that indicate how they've played this week or earlier in the day? It really, your collar starts to get awfully tight when you start thinking about winning this championship and you have an actual chance to do it and close it out. And they've played beautiful golf until right now.
90 holes of pressure golf in 5 days is also not easy with thunderstorms and lightning and delays and all that. Jane Geddes currently 16th on the money list. She's won over $80,000 this year. Sally Little's only won $19,000, way down in 76th place. But she seems to have the game back together. Finished 8th in Houston last week, and now in this playoff gets it up to the hole. Certainly a gorgeous shot.
That might put a little doubt in Jane's mind there.
Yeah, it has to get Jane thinking a little bit, anyway.
Oh, yes. I mean, for Sally to have any kind of chance, she had to hit that kind of shot or even closer to the hole.
Yeah.
Where she's got a chance at a 4. We've all had these kind of shots. It's not the easiest shot in the world. It may be short.
Well, it's at the hole, certainly, but short. So let's hang on here for a minute.
There's a little golf to be played yet. If we haven't seen anyone putt on this green today, but that's
right.
Really slow coming up there yesterday, if you remember.
That's right. In other words, listen to the applause for both of these women. They've deserved it today. Must be a lot of people in Dayton said they were going to grandmother's funerals today because this is Monday, a working day. It's a decent-sized gallery here, as you can hear from the applause.
Well, they did a great job here. It's a shame they had the weather and the different calamities they had because you get prepared to have a major championship and then it rains and storms and earthquakes and man, what else could happen to these people?
Well, for Sally Little to force a sudden death playoff, she must make her par putt, and then she would have to count on Jane Geddes 3-putting.
You can let a lot of thoughts creep in your mind right now, Jim, and if she can just keep her mind on what she has to do, if you just knock the ball up very close to the hole, make your 5, and you just won your biggest championship, maybe the biggest championship you'll ever win. I feel kind of sorry for Sally, but it's good to see her playing again, playing well again.
Well, Jane, after all, has never won as a professional.
Well, I'm sure Sally probably feels that way. It's almost 2 different careers for her, as she said. You know, she came out, won a lot of money, but hasn't done well in the last few years.
Should be slow coming up here. As Dave said, we haven't had a chance to see anybody play the hole today. Well,
beautiful.
Should be good enough.
Just what she needed to do right there.
Yep, on in 3, should be down in 5.
She's going to finish out, which you can do in stroke play. I think in most cases you should go ahead and finish out, but
well, here it could make it a little tough on Sally if people start cheering and all that. But,
right.
But after all, the important thing for her was
to win.
To win and to do it when she felt it was the time. So she finished up. Jane Geddes has won the Women's Open. Yeah. Even though her opponent hasn't finished yet. So we'd all like to see Sally make this one. To move to within one shot at the end.
Well, I would have thought this morning Sally's even par for the round has this putt for 72. I would have thought 72 would be a very good score. Geddes really played well.
She did. 2 under par, 70. One under par, 71, I should have said. That's right.
Break.
No. That'll be 1 over 73. 71 for Jane Geddes. 70 for Sally Little. Rhonda Glenn has already made her way downstairs. She'll be having a word with the new champion, the new United States Women's Open Golf Champion, Jane Geddes of Irving, Texas, at age 26. She's never won before, so that's a new experience.
That's her mother and father
There they are. Been with her all the way, Mom and Dad.
Well, we got more. You'll pick up a lot of friends now.
That's right. There'll be a lot of newfound relatives and friends will show up.
That's right. Okay. Tomorrow night, the Major League All-Star game from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Well, won't rain that one out, but you said yesterday they did rain an event out there.
Oh, yeah, they sure did. It rained so hard, it flooded everything. They couldn't get to the park.
Well, the way things are going here this week, you never know. But as of now, they are scheduled to have the All-Star game on ABC tomorrow night starting at 8 Eastern Time. It isn't over here as far as interest is concerned because we're going to meet the champ when we come back. Well, here's how it happened as Jane Geddes won the United States Women's Open Golf Championship. In the early going, as you look at those red numbers for Sally Little, but actually first for Jane Geddes. Geddes took the lead with a birdie on the second hole. Then the yellow number, she took a bogey on the third hole, and they were even again. Then Sally ran off a string of 3 birdies in a row, and 4, 5, and 6 at a 3-stroke lead. But immediately back came Geddes, and that was the key to her round today. With a birdie on 7, she moved to within 2. And then when Little bogeyed the 8th hole, she was within 1. When Sally Little double bogeyed 9, Jane took the lead. And then they moved to the back 9. Both playing extremely well, really, except for that double bogey for Sally, which in the end may have been her undoing. But she came back with a birdie on the 10th hole to get right back into it again. And there they were with pars on 11. Both had birdies on 12. Okay, 13, they both had pars on the par 3 hole. Then Jane Geddes with the birdie on 14. And things began to change. And the bogey for Sally Little on 15. And from there on, well, we had a bogey for Jane, remember, on 16 again, but then one for Sally on 17. And on 18, they both had bogey 5s. Net result, a 2-stroke victory for Jane Geddes. Let's go down to Rhonda Glenn.
We're with Sally Little, and Sally, I must say we had 2 winners today because that was a great victory for you. Even though you didn't win the championship, you've come a long way back.
I feel I have, Rhonda. I think we both played very well today. Jane was better in the end, but I think that we both gave each other a good run. I feel I've had my own victory, though. This will mean a lot to me for my future.
It certainly will. You played beautifully on the front 9, and you have had some health problems. Certainly, you are not the kind of person to give an alibi, but it seemed that you might have tired a little bit on the back.
I think I would say that I got a little bit tired coming in, but I mean, it's been an incredibly long week with all the delays and that. I think I held up pretty well, though. It's been a wonderful test for me, and I'll be back.
We're sure that you will, Sally. Thank you very much for your great golf this week. And to me, this was one of the stirring opens that I've seen. I know there are some great women opens in history. Mickey Wright's win at Baltusrol in 1964, Hollis Stacy's victories, Joanne Carter's, but this has been really one of the great playoffs, and you did very well.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out here. It was nice to get this kind of support on a Monday.
All right, and now we'll go to Jane Geddes, our young champion in 1986. Who had a lot of help from her family. We'd like to get her mother and dad up here, too, if we could. They're way over in the back. Okay. Jane, congratulations. It's a great win for you, your first tournament victory, and naturally it's the U.S. Open. What does it mean to you?
I can't even explain what it means. Watch out. No, that's right there. I just feel fantastic. I don't even know what to say. Sally played very well, and you know, I'm just happy to be here.
Mr. and Mrs. Geddes, you were out there suffering through the whole thing.
Oh, we were. I think we're all in a trance. But what a wonderful,
every shot.
What a wonderful trance to be in.
It's a great win for you. Did you feel there was a particular turning point for you, Jane?
Sally and I went back and forth all day. She was playing very well at points. I played well at points, and we both didn't play well at points. So I think probably maybe around the 14th or 15th hole, I made a birdie and a par, and she made a par and a bogey, and that kind of made a big swing in there. So that might have been it.
While you were both firing it at the pin on the front nine, she had you 3 down at one time, and it certainly was match play by then. You apparently weren't worried.
I was hitting the ball well. Sally was hitting it in there, and I was hitting it in there on top of her, not quite as close, and I just didn't make any putts, but I just felt good that I was hitting the ball as well as I was, and I knew on the backside I'd play well all week. So
how did you manage to keep your composure, though, being 3 down and having her firing the ball like that?
Well, like I said, I was hitting the ball well, and I just felt like on the backside, if I could just make some birdies like I had been all week, I'd at least get back to even.
Well, and you certainly did that. With your family here, when did your family and you start first talking about possibly winning the U.S. Open?
Oh, my dad tells me I can win all the time.
Every tournament I say she's going to win. And I said she's got to. She's got to break through the ice.
Well, she certainly did.
And to do it in the Open, we're so proud.
Yes. What's your plan next? Now, what will this do for your career, do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's fantastic. I think, you know, everybody dreams about winning the Open, and for it to be my first tournament and just to be able to win it once is just a fantastic thrill.
Congratulations. A great victory for you and for your family. I know you had a great week, and on to even better things.
Thank you very much.
All right, back to Jim and Dave.
Okay. Nothing like a little family support, Dave.
Well,
it helps.
You'd be surprised how many friends and everybody really get a lot of pleasure out of a victory by someone they've been pulling for. That'll work its way through everybody she knows.
Of course, some people feel differently. Pat Bradley, whose family is tremendously supportive of her, and whom she calls all the time to get support. She says they make her nervous if they're out here watching her, so they stay home and watch on TV. But Jane Geddes likes it, and it worked out very well. Sally Little had her brother for a caddy. It was sort of a family day here at NCR. But there is the winner, at least the back of her head. And so after thunder and lightning, a slight earthquake and a phosphorus cloud, and an 18-hole playoff, it has at long last ended, and that woman, Jane Geddes, is the U.S. Women's Open Golf Champion. This ABC Sports exclusive has been brought to you by USF&G. All across this country, USF&G protects your business, home, auto, and life. USF&G covers the USA. The 1986 U.S. Women's Open Golf Championship was produced by Terry Jastrow and directed by Jim Jeanette. Our technical director, of course, was Werner Gunther, and the associate director, Jack Graham.
Now that it is successfully completed,
hope you'll be with us tomorrow night for ABC Sports coverage of the 1986 Major League All-Star Game, live from the Astrodome in Houston. Coverage beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Now, don't forget this coming...